3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Good evening. It's Monday again already. Where has that week gone? Welcome along to Reading the Signs with me, Comedy John Ryan, and my pals from the world of comedy, showbiz, entertainment, and anywhere else I can find them, really. Every week we talk about mental health, mental wellness, what we do, why we do it, how we deal with the good times, the bad times. We want you to help as well. Let us have your top tips for well-being. Let us know you're there by putting comments in the box. Do give us a like on YouTube, SoundCloud, Facebook. Just tell your friends, really. And subscribe, of course. Very important that you subscribe at this day and age. Quick mention to Lost Boys UK for this fantastic theme tune. Have a look at my website, happytohelpyou.com. We've got great guests. We've got a great show. We've got a great audience. Let's get to it. Good evening. Welcome along to another episode of Reading the Signs with me, John Ryan. This is what I look like. My clean t-shirt, I've got to keep it clean because I've got to wear it tomorrow. So I just thought, because I've got a VIP guest, I'd look a bit smart, really, rather than just wear my scruffy old t-shirt that I've had on all day. So I can't spill anything on it, so I can only drink water tonight. How's your day been, everyone? Let's start, as always, with the weather. How was the weather for you today? Today, for me, it was horrible because it was hot and sunny, and I don't like hot sunshine. So you may like the hot sunshine, in which case you had a good day, which starts us off very nicely with the idea that we all experience things in different ways, and well-being is very much like that. What upsets you may not upset me, and we all got to kind of appreciate that people interpret and feel things in different ways. So how's your day been? How's your week been? What's been going on since last week, since you were here last? Have we got a new Prime Minister? I don't know. Has it snowed? Couldn't tell you. All I know is we're alive. We've made it through another week, so we've done better than a lot of people have managed. If you've got anything good news to share with us, anything you want to talk to us about or let us know, then please do. Put your comments in the box. It's always good to hear from you, to know that you're there. And do let us know that you're keen to listen, you're keen to watch, keen to take part. It's always useful if we know that there are people out there. It helps. I'm not going to lie. It's often very strange to sit here not knowing who's out there, who's not out there. So do let us know what's going on. That's it. There you go. All sorted. So on with it. We've got someone's come along now. Now the thing is, if you haven't signed into StreamYard, that's it. I've lost the plot. If you haven't signed into StreamYard, I don't know who you are. So I've got to now go and find out who is out there saying good evening. So if you could put your name to it, that would make it a little bit easier. But, if you don't want it, then don't bother. I wouldn't. Make it difficult. Make me earn my pennies. Barry Allen, of course. There you go, Barry. I found you. Let's do this properly. Let's get Barry up on here. Oh, mate, do you know what? This is really frustrating. I have to go and fish your name out there, Barry, from another page, and then it starts talking to me. And I can't multitask. I can't listen to two things at once. Anyhow, so let's get Barry's name up now and say good evening to Barry J. Allen. I like people who've got like a little bit in the middle, like, W.J. Barnum or W.P. Barnum, or whatever. J.K. Rowling's, I guess. Probably not the best example to use, really, is it? Anyway, I'm just John Ryan. I might have, if you can suggest a middle initial to me, that would be really useful. So, as always, we've got a great guest tonight. I'm very excited to have our special, I don't know many superstars, I'm not going to lie, but our guest tonight, I would say, is a superstar. We've been friends for well over 10 years now. And I'm always one of these people who you look forward to seeing their company, and you're sad when they go. Of particular relevance to me, of course, is the fact that Hayley was the first person that I saw after my mum passed away. I went to Cyprus and she was there on holiday, came to visit me. That was much appreciated. Great singer, great songwriter, great talent. If ever you get a chance to go and see the show that she does, it's absolutely fantastic. She's got a really brilliant tune out at the moment. If you listen to it, though, it will hook you. It kind of drags you. You'll be humming that all day. Does a Gladys Knight show. It's talent. It's pure talent. And bear in mind that I used to do warm-ups for Jules Holland. So there are very few big superstar singers that I've seen that I think are, on a higher standard. I've been to see, Diana Ross and people like that, and Hayley is just as good. That break will come one day, but before then, we're really honoured to have her come along tonight. So please make her feel welcome. If we can start clapping, that's it. Have a little bit of a clap, a little bit of cheer. Please welcome Hayley Leah Christian to the show.
Oh, thank you. Hi.
Well, introduction, hang on. They're still clapping there, so stop that. Still clapping down there. How you been? What you been up to? What you been doing today?
Right. How are you? Well, today, what have I done? Oh my goodness! So I've been for sports. My friend, she's a sports physio, so I've been bent sideways, backwards, upside down, and hurt today in the best possible way. But I feel like, do you remember that advert, Mr. Soft?
Mr. Soft.
I feel like Mr. Soft right now because she said I've not had physio for about 5 years, and she did all her elbows and stuff in my back, so that was great. And then I went to see my best friend and her baby daughter, so I've had baby cuddles all afternoon, which has been lovely.
Very nice. Why are you having physio? Is that, am I right to ask that?
Yeah, no, it's just I've just felt, because I've done a lot of car journeys over the past few months, and luckily I'm getting back to work and stuff like that. It's just I'm feeling little twinges in my back and stuff like that, and my friend was like, "Oh, come on down and I'll give you a half price." Well, she says half price massage, a half price. I think she wants to take her anger out on me. But yeah, it's felt great. So
people don't realise the glamour of showbiz is that very often it's like a 5-hour car journey.
Oh, absolutely.
Half hour, so 5 hours back. When we used to go to Egypt, do you remember the EasyJet flights? And you'd be like, oh man.
You get to about 4 hours in, and because obviously we've done Cyprus and stuff a lot, you get to 4 hours and you start getting a little bit, I need to get off the flight, and then you realise you've still got another like 2.5 hours.
Sitting on them deck chairs. This is about the glamour. This is what it's all about, mate. Phenomenal. Can I ask, where are you in your family pecking order? Where do you fit in? Your eldest, youngest, middleest?
I'm an only child.
Okay, interesting.
Can't you tell?
Well, I did think it was very mature.
No, I'm an only child. I've got lots of cousins and stuff that I consider as like because they say your cousins are your first best friends, aren't they? And my two cousins, Aaron and Steph, they're like my brother and sister. So we grew up together. Aaron's only 9 months younger than me. So we're very, very close, and they're over in Nottingham, and I'm in Manchester.
Were you brought up in Nottingham?
Yeah. I left Nottingham when I was about 17 to go to theatre school. So
okay.
Yeah.
But before that, tell me about school. Where did you like school? Did you enjoy it?
I'm not sure. Do you know what I mean? It was one of those ones where I felt that I wasn't. My mum's a head teacher, so I learnt a lot. I felt that I didn't learn a lot from school. I learnt more at home with my grandparents and learning life lessons. I'm a kind of life lesson person rather than academia. I read so much. I used to be like a proper bookworm. I could just sit and I'd be absorbed in. I could read a book pretty much in an evening, like Roald Dahl and stuff like that. I'd be really interested in books and reading, and I think but I was never mathematic. I always say I've got almost like maths dyslexia because I could never quite work it out. It's almost like that. But I do know when an agent is taking too much money off me on the commission. That's one thing I do always know. I'm rubbish on maths. And I do know my VAT. I do know my 20% plus VAT and stuff.
That's the way you do it. That's how it works. So tell me, at school then, did you enjoy school? Did you like it? Was it a happy time?
No. I don't think there was obviously getting flashbacks and stuff. I don't think I enjoyed it. I never had a group of friends that I stuck with as well, if that makes sense. I was the butterfly. I just flitted in between. But most of the time I hung around with the lads because I felt more not necessarily secure with them. I just felt that there wasn't any competition. I didn't have to lose weight. I didn't have to have my hair done properly. I didn't have, because I wore glasses. Honestly, my friends call me Benjamin Button right now because
I'll go with that. Because you are 68 this morning.
Well, when I was 13, I looked about 45, and I've just gone that way. So I wasn't the pretty girl at school. I was the geek.
Okay.
And so that's why I hung around with the boys, I think, because I just got on with the lads more. It was more fun. Most of my best friends were lads. It was an easier, even though the banter and stuff, even though they took the mick, it was just a lot easier place to be around rather than the girls who were, I'm not going to say it, they were bitchy. Some of the girls were teenage girls. I'm going to hate it. Teenage girls are vile, and they can be vile. And I just didn't feel comfortable with them. So yeah, I was always the one playing football, playing rugby, out and about, swinging from like rope trees and on the bikes and going on making dens and stuff like that. And also I think that was because of my cousin. It was just one of those things.
Okay, we've got to give a quick mention to one of our listeners, Steve Troop, one of our heroes, Discalius. What's Discalius? I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Oh.
What's this? We're gonna have to quickly Google that one. But if I just quickly mention a while ago, only a couple of weeks ago, we had a listener who was expressing kind of self-harm thoughts, and Steve, of his own volition, went off, messaged the guy, sent him his number, said, "Call me if you ever have any problems."
Amazing.
And yeah. So dyscalculia. That's near Mykonos, isn't it? I don't know. Anyway, it's a specific and persistent difficulty in understanding numbers, which can lead to a diverse range of difficulties with mathematics. There you go. Look, mate,
you go. Weirdly, I'm great with algebra. So formulas and stuff I'm fine with, but like subtraction, division, nah. Nope.
Nah. Not happening.
No,
because I was always like, I wanted to be a maths teacher when I left college. So man, I love numbers. I only trust numbers. I don't really trust people. Katrina Ward chipping in there with a little hi.
Hi, Katrina.
And of course, our this is for the rest of the world. I'm about to introduce you to someone. If ever we think about should we have nuclear power or should we have gas, we should have this. We should have Izzy Pierce because this girl is a force of nature. Thanks for coming along and join us. From when she found out this afternoon, you was going to be my guest. She was probably sat next to her laptop with a sandwich and a drink and a yo-yo.
Sandwich and a cup of tea, a very big cup of tea that's extra milky. Yeah, definitely.
So Steve Troop, again, like the guy, he's a little superhero. He's a good guy. He's just to bring you up to speed. He was homeless for a while. He's had a lot. He's tried to self-harm, had a lot of problems, and he's now working on the doors. Started his own company. Tonight is at Puke and Ambulance Night.
Oh, student night. Oh,
mate.
Yeah, we've all done that.
They're them kicks. Tell us then. So school. You like school, and then what happened? Did you go to college? Did you go?
I had a really nasty accident when I was 16. Some staging went straight through my foot.
What?
And I didn't think I'd walk it. So I've got no nerves in my left foot, and I didn't think I'd walk again. So my mum saw it as an opportunity, and she said, "You know what? This is a sign. Off you go to theatre school. You're not," because all my friends were like training to be. I started sixth form to do like French and English because I wanted to do law. I was chatty. I thought I could become a barrister. But then I realised actually my heart was in music and drama and stuff like that. So I disappeared off to theatre school in Manchester, and I was taught by, unfortunately, he's just passed away actually, my drama teacher is David Johnson, and he was the person that all the people in Coronation Street went to for drama training. So I was very lucky. He was amazing. He was brutal. And I think he made me who I am today, to be quite honest. One of the people who made me who I am today. He's absolutely brutal. But he was.
But I say, don't know, a good teacher makes a difference.
Yeah, he was. He was campus Christmas and just said what he thought.
Mate, straight talking.
Yeah.
Straight talking people we like on here. Steve sensed an opportunity. Does Hayley need security for her next tour? Do you know what? He would probably do that. He'll probably start his own security company, guarding soup size. That's how it goes. So you could be a barrister, so you decided to get into.
Yeah, I decided to act like a barrister instead. I get paid for. I'm hopefully get paid the same, but with less work. That's what I thought.
So where was the love then? The singing or the acting?
At first, I thought I wanted to act because everybody in my college, they were all going off to TV. And I thought that's where I wanted to be. And then I realized that I wasn't not great at taking direction, but I always wanted to I wanted to go in my own direction. I wanted to put my own spin on it. So I went into singing and I went into more talking and presenting because from a young age I always wanted to be in radio. I went on work experience when I was 14 to the local radio stations. Oh, by the way, if you're asking me questions like this now, we're going to be here a long time because I've had many jobs. And so I ended up leaving theatre school. And my first job was at Alton Towers.
Oh, wow.
I was a character actor at Alton Towers. Now, the only way I can describe, do you remember the woman from, which was not great right now, but the woman from Tom and Jerry? It was a cross between her and
my
Rusty
days.
Lee. Yeah.
Mama, what was her name?
Yeah, back in the day. So I was this big, bubbly Caribbean mum, basically. I had to wear a padded suit and everything. And that was my very first acting job.
Mammy Two Shoes.
Something, yeah. So,
do you know when they show Tom and Jerry now, they still show those episodes with Mammy Two Shoes?
Really?
But they put a disclaimer beforehand to kind of go, if anyone's upset or triggered by this, you go, wow. Yeah. That big, powerful cat. Did you only ever see her bum on her feet?
Yeah, pretty much. Then that was my thing. That you
wow. And so we're going Tom and Jerry. That was kind of, we're looking at something made in the 50s again. Ooh, but you was doing this when you left school, so 5 years ago.
2002, but like
2002, and they were still doing it.
Kind of. It was based on that character. It was like this big, bubbly West Indian woman, and looking back on it now, I don't think it would be very PC because obviously I had to wear a fat suit as well. Sorry to say, but I had to wear padding, and they made me look big rather than just having it was everything. It was everything. So that was back in then, and then I left Towers, and then I went to work at a place called Signal Radio in Stoke, and I worked on the events team. And then I worked my way up. So from the events team there, I became events manager, and then I moved to Manchester. Worked for a big radio station, 3 radio stations. I worked for Smooth Rock and Real, which was Century at the time.
Century Radio.
I
lived in Manchester.
Did you?
Yeah, that would have been brilliant. Steve standing on the door meant to be looking after people. He's now bound to win X Factor, he says, because of his backstory, even though he can't sing or dance. So then you've done those kind of little jobs. Did you ever have a job like working in a shop or working? Like...
Oh yeah, my first job was I worked in a hairdresser's.
That a hairdressers or Afro-Caribbean hairdressers?
No, it wasn't. It was a hairdresser's.
Hairdresser. So,
but I either got. Do you know how much I got paid for full Saturday? Looking back on it, £10.
Mate, your life is just one story of exploitation.
£10.
This film is going to be so good when it comes out.
From 8 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock. £10. However, the good thing about it was I was the only one that got my hair because Afro hair was really expensive to get done. You got your hair done for free, so that was a £75 haircut I got every 4 weeks.
Happy days, winner. Winner.
Do
you know some jobs I could not do? I couldn't be chiropodist.
Feet. Right, that's my biggest thing. I can't stand feet.
Yeah.
People's feet. No.
So that's good. Do that. Anything involving cleaning out belly buttons, mate. No.
I'm not quite sure what.
No. When she's got nothing better to do, and I'm not giving her any attention, she just put her finger on my belly button. I'm like, don't do that. No.
I do the same to my husband, and he hates it.
No. Yeah. Apart from that, and lion taming, possibly.
Okay.
It's not really limited my career options over the years. So then when did you start doing the singing? When did that all come about?
2006. I had a bit of a hiatus. I disappeared off to Cornwall. I felt like I needed to run away.
You ran away to Cornwall?
I ran away to Cornwall.
Wow.
My friend offered me a way out and I ran away to Cornwall. And I started singing so that my previous job was that, but properly singing. I worked at Holiday Park down in Cornwall. I was an entertainment manager, and that's, to be quite honest, when I met a lot of the people that I'm still friends with now. a lot of the acts.
Mm.
Tank Sherman, for example, I met him for the first time down there. And Sonia Selby and people like that who I'm still in contact with, they guided me into the career that I'm doing now. If it wasn't for them saying, lad, don't put that setting, or you want to talk to the audience like this, or stuff like that, I felt like they all took me under their wing, and every week I just did my cabaret. Well, I love the way they call it cabaret.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Did my cabaret, changed something every single time, and yeah.
But was that to like pensioners, kids, families, or
Everything?
Was that
it was a holiday park, so it was to, you have to please absolutely everybody on those holiday parks.
See, because our comedy circuit, which was the alternate comedy circuit, was kind of very much people paid to get in. You could say anything you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone used to go, the mainstream, like the holiday camps, the caravan parks, cruises, and working men's clubs. But when I started doing them ones, it was like a whole different game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like I remember doing this at Jaywick near Clacton, and someone dropped out and they asked me on the day. And that circuit pays 2 or 3 times more than our circuit. And the whole time I'm on stage, this little boy's just running in a big, about 2 years of age, running a big circle, run a big circle, run a big circle.
Mm-hmm.
And me being me, I said, oh, he's very good at running. Does anyone want to come and take him and sit him down? No. And the woman at the bar went, no, he needs his nappy change and he's had a poo.
Yeah.
So me being me, I said, would you like to maybe take him and change his nappy? She goes, no, we'll mess that one up as well. Might as well keep that one on. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness. I've become middle class just by stepping on this stage. That's your child. Your child's in a crusty nappy, and you're not even going to change him because you've got to leave the bar.
Mm-hmm.
So you won't get that at a comedy store.
No.
You just don't happen. And then that's so. I see people like yourself just to think like you're like superstar singer, and there's Barry, do you want a pint, mate? Do you want another drink? Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely. I used to get heckled, but I've learned the heckles now. I remember one. Okay, this is going back to people don't believe me sometimes that I started singing in working men's clubs, and working men's clubs were if you got into a working men's club, then you have them at the end. They have the meat raffle. You have the bingo and stuff like that. I am not slating them whatsoever because that's where I earned my craft.
Yeah.
However, when you get the first comment going, what was it? Turn the lights up. All I can see is her teeth. And I was like, nice. So I was like, turn the lights down. I can still see your face. And that was it. Everybody went, way! And that was it. You have to don't show fear. And then if you came back with a comment like that, they were like, oh, fair play. You're all right, you.
See, but this is where it would differ because, like, someone on our circuit, someone would shout, turn the lights up, I can only see his teeth. And be like a white bloke on stage going, you go, what? But it's just that, just shout at anything. But some of those mainstream gigs, some of that heckling, that's brutal. I just want to give a little shout out to Dee Dee. The first job, £27 a week, had to hand over £10 as board money to my granny. Granny was exploiting you guys.
Yeah, so that was ruthless. When was that?
Right. So £27 a week. How long ago do we think that was? If you want to give your age away there, with a year that you want to tell us about. Anyone else had some proper jobs? Do let me know. But see, I didn't because I wasn't from that world, and I can remember going once to Braunston in Leicester.
Oh yeah,
to a working men's club, and I was doing a 1 hour health thing, and there was these girls were on before me, and they were great singers, but nobody cared. They didn't even, as a comic, I died on my backside. These people didn't even get acknowledged to die. Nobody cared. You could have put a plant on the stage and put a backing track on. And you go, wow,
but then they'll come to you when you finish going, oh, you were ever so good. I'm like, sorry?
I went to Japan and they stared at me for an hour. They just stared at me. And then at the end I got a standing ovation. Then I said to this guy, what was that all about? He goes, it's rude to laugh. No, it's not rude to laugh, mate. I'm up there thinking, oh my God, I've got like 54 minutes left.
Oh God.
But see, it gives you experience to draw on, to pull on, to. So what was your first song show? Your first show you did where you went out?
My first show
just
I did.
You, not in a holiday camp, just you as Eva Haley as well.
What, me in a pub? I was in a pub and they're close around the corner from my house. I had a couple of pub gigs that I went out and I took my CD and I and I did them myself. So yeah, my mum and my stepdad helped me with those. Looking back on it, I cringe, but it worked. If I could manage in a pub, then I could manage anywhere. Gosh, you're asking me what my first show was. My proper first show.
Have a little think about that. Well, I just say hello to Robert. Robert comes every week, and for a year I was convinced he lived in Spain, and he was a psychologist, and he lives in England, and he's a horologist. So sometimes I need to listen a bit more. Really, I think like most men. I'm waiting for Steve Troop to come in with one of his jobs because this guy has just done it all.
Because he had loads.
He works in an onion factory grading onions.
That's not a job, is it?
How'd you grade onions, Steve? What'd you do? Go, yeah, well done, good effort. You rolled well. It was kind of brilliant. So then you start singing. Was that just as Hayley, or was that as a character?
No, that was just me. So I started just gigging and doing what I do, and then it kind of built up. And then I moved to Manchester, and then got my first flybacks, and that's when I met you. Okay. And then it went on from there. So actually doing the flybacks, it helped me meet other people, change my set a little bit, see what works.
Yeah, but I remember watching you once, I think it was in Egypt, and he's on a big stage, just rocking the hell out of that theatre. Just, like everyone was just engrossed in it. And I just remember, and he had all the gear, as we call it, all the bits and pieces, looked the part. And as far as those holidaymakers were concerned, there was a real Whitney on stage. There was a real, Diana. There was a proper, and that, I think that step up was something that I got my head around. But a lot of my contemporaries, comics on my circuit, would go out there. They just wouldn't get it at all. People wanted to see a show.
Yeah.
And you everything about it, the lights. I remember watching sound checking, thinking, man, you just got to go 1 2 1 2, get off. That's it.
No, you have to. Yeah, it's a different kettle of fish. So it's like, some people don't understand, because I like to meditate before a show. As I need to do a warm up, but I also need to be quiet. I need to gather my own thoughts. It's almost like projecting yourself onto the stage and being ready. And to be quite honest, I get more nervous talking to people sometimes, like meeting people and introducing myself, rather than about 30 seconds before I go on stage, I'll get like a little bit of an adrenaline kick. So my friends will say, "Oh, your heartbeat's going in your neck." I went, "There we go, I'm good to go." Because as soon as that goes, I'm ready. And then it's just a thing. But I think it comes naturally. I'm not going to lie though, I did lose my mojo a bit. About 2018, I wasn't sure whether I wanted to carry on singing. I don't know what it was. It just, things weren't feeling right. And my brother took me to see a lady called Sharon Jones. Unfortunately, she passed away from cancer. 2019.
Mate, there's a theme with your stories tonight, mate. I'm not going to lie.
Why?
Oh, he was a really great, really inspirational. He's dead. And then my brother took me. Yeah, she's dead. You're like Dr. Death Girl. What are you doing, Grim Reaper?
Well, he knew I wasn't in a great place, like with my work, because my mum said that when I went on stage, my eyes looked soulless. There was no sparkle. Okay. The sparkle had gone. And she went, "You either need to change your set or need to change what you're thinking about on stage. Something needs to change. I don't know what it is." And then watching her live, that's when I changed. That's when I realized I needed to create a show that was about the music, that was with a live band, because being on stage on your own is damn lonely. And being on stage with a really, really good band, a band that gets you, a band that you need to look at and they know where you're going, that's what I needed, and that's what I created.
Brilliant. Let me just hold you off for a second there. We just want to welcome people who are listening on SoundCloud or YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or the mensradiostation.com website, or the womensradiostation.com website, or Deluxe Radio. I'm John Ryan on Reading the Signs this week. My guest, my honoured, esteemed guest is the fantastic Hayley Rhea Christian, who's drives you nuts if you listen to it too much. I want to give a quick shout out to the Lost Boys, who provide the music that we have at the start and end of our show. So all about supporting young people. Thanks to them for that. So Hayley, give us a hint there, a little sense that things kind of went a little bit awry. 2018. How did you get over that?
It's weird because my grandma passed away in 2009, and I felt like I'd lost my. Do you know what I mean? She was my best friend. She took me to music lessons, dancing lessons, everything. She was there at every recital and stuff like that. And it was almost like on the 10th anniversary of her passing, I just felt like something's not sitting right. So I go walk. I've got 2 dogs. I go walking a lot. I love walking, but I find that some people find swimming helps, some people find breathing helps, but I need to go to a higher plane, if that makes sense. So I need to find a really big hill, stand on the top of it, and it's not as if I feel like I'm better than anybody else. It's just looking down on the world and gaining perspective. So that's why I love being on the plane and looking out of the window, because you realize you're up high, and it's just thinking and then looking down, going, look at everybody's. I can understand why the astronauts do it as well, because you're just seeing the world go ahead while you're up there just gaining perspective on everything. It gives me a chance to breathe and just think, right, I need to do this, breathe, take it in, and tomorrow's another day.
Yeah, it's interesting because you've alluded to it. You're on stage, you're on your own, and it's how you then cope with that big space. So again, like I was on a ship last week, 1100 theatre, huge stage. So I got to draw the curtain just so that I didn't look out of place. But you got to fill that space. You got to fill it. If you've got a band, that's a whole different thing. Would you say it's a lonely occupation to have chosen?
Oh God, yeah, 100%. People don't understand it. They think you're because you're on stage and it's all jazz hands and stuff like that. When actually, as soon as I get off stage, I find it so awkward to accept compliments. I find it makes me because I'm just I see it not as just a job. Okay, I'm very lucky to do this job, but I can't take compliments well. I get socially awkward with it. So when people ask me to do a meet and greet after a show, it's kind of almost my worst nightmare thing, because I do it, I decompress, I've done the show, and then I'll go back to my hotel room and disappear, and I'll take stock of what I've done. But to mix and mingle when people will come up to you, oh, I loved your show last night, and it's that conversation, that's actually harder for me than doing the show, which is weird, I guess.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because you're up there, you are owning that room, you've got the attention of hundreds or thousands of people, but it's what you draw on to give you strength to kind of to get through it. And I know that you like you mentioned your nan and that Steve lost his granddad when he was 14, and it's funny, like you're saying, even today went to a fishing lake and spoke to him. I mentioned my mum passing. I still talk to her most days. I still talk to my dad. Sometimes, like last week, I was on a ship thinking my dad would have loved this. He would have loved this as a holiday, not just me being on the ship. These are the sort of places that he never went to. My mum would have slapped me for showing off and drawn attention to myself. But it's that thing of that highs and lows. So when you storm a gig, you smash the bejeebers out of it, you get your encore, and then you still want to come off and just curl up and hide.
100%. I find it. I thrive with it. It's weird because I wear a lot of wigs and weaves in my show, so I've actually got really, really short hair normally, but because I do different shows, I wear wigs, I wear different weaves and stuff like that. And if I don't feel like I want to be noticed, because I look completely different when I've got short hair. In fact, I look like Ginny Ashery when I've got short hair. I'll just whip off my wig and then just disappear. And by the time people realize it's me, I'm gone. I'm gone. And to me, it's almost like a split person. It's almost like a split personality type thing. As soon as I get on stage, I'm like, bam, and then I'll come off stage and I want to be with my people. So I want to be with the people that get it, that get that. People don't understand the adrenaline rush that you get, but then as soon as you step off stage like that, I'm actually quite reserved and yeah, with around people I don't know. I either put on this persona that I'm like, hi, I'm Hayley Jazz Hands, or I'll be like, Can I just? I'll just sit and listen.
But isn't it interesting though that we don't realise that life is an act, isn't it? It's that thing of you've got to put on that face. And I remember when I had my day job working for the council, and I would have to deal with like homeless people or council tenants, and I just wanted to tell them to f off, but you can't do that. So you kind of smile and you're polite and go, "Oh, thank you." Working in entertainment is the only time in my life people have ever taken it upon themselves to come and tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Oh my goodness! So I've got a story about that. Egypt. I think you were there. And it took me a very, very long time. A woman came up to me and she went, "I loved your set." I was like, "Oh, great, thank you very much." Hated your midnight train to Georgia. Hate is a strong word, and it took me another 8 years to sing that song again.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's okay, I guess. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's about what it was. Why had you been so upset about it? What was it in her words that hurt you?
She didn't. She just went, "Hate it," and then walked off. And I was like, "Thanks." And it was just and I think we're in the only industry that people feel that they can say stuff like that to us to our faces, or without any repercussions, or even thinking the way that we feel, or going, "Do you know what? You're crap."
Well, I was at a gig one night. This was a Sensatory in Crete. That beautiful comedy cellar, packed, about 500-600 people. And the first act, he hadn't gone very well. I'd been doing them 5 or 6 years, so it's almost like comedy by numbers. You press these buttons. And we were talking, and a woman came over, and she said to me, "Can I have a word?" I went, "Yeah, is everything all right?" She went, "Everything's all right with you," but turned to this other comic and went, "You have nearly ruined my holiday." And he was like, "Why?" She goes, "Because I was looking forward to this night for so long, and you were dreadful. He's all right, but you dreadful. Worst night of entertainment I've ever seen in my life, right?" And then huffed off. But at that stage, we'd been bought 3 drinks by people who'd enjoyed the show. And he was distraught. And I was going, "Mate, you can't. If you're going to do this, you literally have to leave your ego." You'd never go to the bus driver get off, "Mate, the way you took that corner back there, rubbish. Where'd you learn to drive?" But for some reason, an X Factor, Britain's Got Talent have made it worse. And it's like,
I've got views on that, but we'll leave that for another time.
So when you're doing your own stuff, are you more confident, or do you prefer to do the character stuff? Or
I feel it as an honor to be able to sing other people's songs and still get the not the accolade, that's not the right word, the applause and stuff like that, people saying you did that song justice and stuff like that, because they would have heard the original, and it's an honor. But then again, it's always scary when you put your own stuff out, because you want to be as good as the people that you've been singing for years. And
mate, this is as good as anything. This is on my Spotify playlist, right up there with all the greats. I love that tune.
But it's always scary, because you basically in your set you're going to pick songs that you know that are hits. You're not going to sing songs that only made it to number 48 or 49 in the charts. You're going to sing stuff that people love that song. So unless you sing it really, really badly, like Midnight Train.
No, mate.
So
look, one of my failings in life was that I was born in the wrong time and culture to have been a pip. I would have loved to have been a pip. I
think I was born 10 years too late, because I love the 80s. I absolutely love the 80s music, and I totally agree with you. I think it's funny how the music we love, I think it molds us as well. It really does on what our view in life is.
I always would have loved to have heard you singing Footsteps Following Me, Francis Nero.
Oh, no, right, that's noted. I'll write that down. I'll write that one down.
We'll send it to you right afterwards, and you can learn it in time for next time I come to see you. So then you've alluded to that kind of isolating part of the career, and a lot of people think, oh, it's all glamour. So I met some lovely people last week on the ship I was on, and although in my head I do my show, I talk to people, I'm on my own. They really welcomed me, brought me in, and hung out with me, and that was really nice. But I'm very socially isolated at home at the best of times. So even though I'm surrounded by good friends, good family, that everybody knows that I like my own time. So we went to Ibiza a few years ago, about 30 of us, and every day I disappeared for 2 hours, and then about the third day, people are saying to Tasha, "Where does he go?" She goes, "Oh, he just goes down the bottom of the hotel and reads a book on his own." Well, why does he want to be on his own? She goes, "Well, he just likes a little bit of alone time."
Yeah.
Oh, I might. By the end of the week, there's like 10 people next to me alone. Come away doing alone time. I'm like,
No, but that's your alone time.
how alone time works. Do you know? And people go, "Well, that's a bit rude, isn't it?" I'm like, "That's not rude." I was on a ship, Norway, only March, and I'm sitting. It was cold. I've got a hat, scarf, gloves, coat on, sitting on the deck, cup of tea, and this woman came over. There's no one else around. She came over and said, "Excuse me, are you the comedian?" I said, "Yeah." Is everything all right? I said, "Yeah." Only you've been sat here for nearly an hour, staring into space, and we thought maybe you'd had bad news. It's like, no, I'm really happy. This is like one of the best days of my life. I'm just looking at a mountain. Well, what are you thinking about? I went, no, I'm not thinking about anything. Again, Tasha calls me Winnie the Pooh because you could just stare at a tree. I'm like,
That's really cute.
I'm like, it's a mountain. Look at it. She was like, just come and have a beer with us. Couldn't understand I wanted to be on my own or that I wasn't being rude. It's that whole thing, isn't it? Where people presume you're on it all the time. And then, like you're saying, then so you don't want to talk to people. Criticism's going to hit you. How do you get over that? What keeps you going?
That's a difficult one because I've got a photographic memory, so I remember stuff that people said to me when I was 8 years old. I'm that kind of person. I will dwell on things.
Do you remember the good things or just the bad things?
It's mainly the bad things, unfortunately. Gosh, I'm getting flashbacks now. Just like stuff that weirdly enough that probably made me the person today. But I always, in fact, Egypt's another thing. I always remember one of my primary school teachers. She didn't like me. I was loud. I was not the class clown, but I was just me basically, but in miniature form. And she always told me that I wouldn't really amount to anything because I was loud and gobby and a bit of a busybody, that kind of thing. I wanted to be in everybody's business. It's because I was interested in what people were doing.
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, she was on the front row in Egypt once, screaming my praises. So I always said that she'd be brilliant and stuff like that. I went, yep. You take that. You can take the praise because whatever. And that's interesting. But yeah, sorry, to go back to your question, I don't know. I'm just, like I say, I remember a lot of things a lot of people say to me, and they do dwell on me, but then also I use it and I'm thinking, okay, I'm not going to, and there's a phrase that I remember saying, you are not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I might be somebody's cup of coffee. I might give that person a buzz, or I might be somebody's hot chocolate. I might send them to sleep.
Yeah, I told my kids there's 7 billion people on the planet, and you're not going to please everyone.
No, not at all.
You've got to please yourself. But we don't really give enough credit to the concept of being selfish. So I'll quite openly, I remember once having an argument, conversation with Tasha and her going to me, "You're really selfish." And I said, "Thank you." She went, "No, it's not a compliment. You're just a selfish person." I went, "I know. Yeah, but you should be proud of it." I went, "Well, I am." Because I don't do something, I ain't doing it. But isn't it?
I've learned something, especially over the past 2 years, with the pandemic and everything, is it's not it's learning to say yes, but not to everybody. Saying yes to yourself, because I was constantly going, right, that person. Oh, I need to put that person first. I need to put that person first. And that person. I will put my family first before anybody. But when it came to work, I was always pandering to other people's needs rather than going, actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to travel for 6 hours when I can say no to something. It's that kind of thing.
Just go, that's not going to happen. That's not happening.
No, not happening.
And then obviously being on the road takes its toll on your own health.
Yeah.
So how does that work? How do you put yourself first?
So I've got a condition called endometriosis. I've had it for at least 14 years that I know of.
Very, very common.
I think I've had it longer. But over I've been ill. I've always been ill, and I've always known that it's been in there. But weirdly enough, just before we went into lockdown, I was in consultations at the hospital and stuff like that because it was getting progressively worse. And then in the first lockdown, I was very lucky that I had, I say lucky, some people wouldn't see this as me. I had major surgery in the first lockdown.
Wow.
Because they found that it got worse, and it spread to all my fallopian tubes and everything like that. It was really, really bad in there. Even
all of them, all of your tubes,
everything.
Mate, make it sound more dramatic than it. You only got two. Honestly, all of them,
all of them,
every last one of them.
So it took about, and then the consultant said that it was a Joe in there. To be quite honest, it wasn't great. So he did what he could, but unfortunately 6 months later, I ended up back in hospital with another cyst that was about that big apparently, that was on my bowel and my bladder as well. So it spread, and they didn't catch it. And then I had to have a 7-hour surgery last July. So yeah, it's been an interesting couple of years. I'm still undergoing. I'm still.
Does that not make you feel tired and?
I'm exhausted. I'm constantly exhausted.
Then you've got to put that big dress on and go out on stage in front of hundreds of people.
Yeah, it's difficult sometimes because I just want, like I said before, a show. I just want a hot water bottle, and I don't want to go anywhere. But then I realized that the whole reason I went into surgery and I went and had that, and I keep going, is just because I wanted to be here and I wanted to be in this moment. So. And
you've got things to live for.
Yeah, I have. It's not easy because I'm nearly 40 now, and it's taken its toll. And I didn't actually realize it had taken its toll because you put work first and your health second. Unfortunately, a lot of us do. And the pandemic has made me realize that actually maybe I should have listened to my body a little bit earlier.
But didn't you take a job in the pandemic?
Yeah, I worked in the supermarket. Well, I worked in 3 supermarkets. Yeah, I had a night shift in one, a day shift in the other, and a weekend shift in the other. I was grafting.
Did you like it?
Do you know what I liked about it? It was the clocking in and clocking out.
Yeah.
Because once you clock in and clock out, that was it. With our job, obviously, it's 24/7. You clock out when you. But I was 9 o'clock clocked in, 5 o'clock clocked out. No phone call, no nothing. No, can you just nothing? That was it until the next day, and that's what I loved about it. I'm not gonna lie, it was normal.
So you've gone through that pandemic. You've already said that, you get your social awkwardness, and there's that downtime may be difficult. You got your health problem. How'd you cope? How'd you get through it? What kept you going?
I always ask, what would my grandma do? And that's always a question I always ask. What would my grandma do? What will my grandma say? Because she, looking back on what she went through, as in coming to the UK, 4 kids, racism, grown up in the 60s, all those things, like what would my life isn't as bad as my grandma's was, and what would she do? And then I give my mum a call and go, have a bit of a and then I write a lot of things down, but then I just have a good chat with my husband. He's great. He's a great listener, and he's also a great person to bounce stuff off, because he's been in the military. He's seen stuff that I couldn't even imagine. So he's very good. He was also a trim counselor as well. So he's very good at decompartmentalizing, is that the right word? Stuff for me in a way.
But wasn't he a Marine?
Yes, he was.
So don't you have to sometimes go, I've got a problem. I don't need to kill anyone. We don't need to kidnap anyone. I just need you to listen. Because the problem that most men have is that we want to fix it.
Yeah,
I don't like, you want to work. Well, let's go and kill her. No.
He's very, very good. So I'll go to him with a problem, and I'll think he can't fix it, and then about 24 hours later he'll go, there you go. So he'll come with me to the solution or stuff like that. I'm like, oh wow.
Like every week I ask my guests for a tip that will protect and help them with their well-being. Yours seems to be marry a Royal Marine.
Now, marry somebody that's have your go-to person. I know not everybody can have that, unfortunately, but I'm lucky that I have that. Even when we were separated by oceans and timelines and stuff like that, I still even though we'd call him over the satellite phone, always have your person.
Yeah. Because I remember before you get married, talking to you when you told me he's a Marine, I'd go, listen, he'll do this and this and this and this. You're like, oh my god, that's exactly what he does. Because he's a Royal Marine, so
yeah.
If the bath's fixed and the plumber ain't fixed it properly, he will fix it himself and make the plumber watch him fix it.
He just did that with the Garden Gate this weekend. I went on the gig. And I was like, okay, we need like we're thinking about the Garden Gate. We're thinking about getting a gate. Okay, blah blah blah. By the time we'd known that he'd ordered the parts, painted it, and it's on the wall. By the time I was like, okay.
Yeah, very, very, very task focused. So what have you got coming up apart from the fact that you're just I don't know if I've mentioned it yet, but this brilliant song you've got out. So what you got coming up? Where can people see you?
So I've got the Midnight Train to Georgia tour. We're in Birmingham the 7th. Oh gosh, that's nice. And yeah, we're going all around the UK. So keep an eye on that.
When you come in Essex or Kent or London?
Dartford. We're in Dartford next March, but I think we're in Clacton soon. And I ask me tomorrow.
Yes.
It's one of those ones. Just look at your diary. You need to go.
It's all about professionalism, isn't it? It's all about.
I'm not in charge anymore. I just get told where to go. No.
Would 8-year-old Hayley be happy with 30-something Hayley?
Oh. Yeah, because I'm getting paid to do something I love, and I'm very, very lucky to do that. I think. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you to do one thing for me, right? Stop using the word lucky. You are not lucky. You're fortunate, but you're not lucky. Someone didn't randomly go, there you go and sell out a theatre doing a Midnight Train tribute act. You got talent, you got preparation, and when you meet opportunity, you deliver excellence. That would be my take on you.
Thank you.
I would.
I appreciate that.
Phenomenal. I'm not going to play the song again now because I'm going to have it in my earworm my whole time. I can't thank you enough for giving us more or less the last hour of your time.
Thanks for having me.
And hopefully we'll see you soon. I'm going to a couple of people on the way out.
Oh, Carol, hi.
Seen Hayley many times. Always look forward to seeing her. That's a really nice thing to say because I guess that validation is about the highs. We see you're on stage having a fantastic time, but actually it's all the rest of it. And I'm going to have to leave Steve with the last words. When we think bad of stars because they won't come and sign photos, he's never thought about maybe struggling in social situations. I won't judge. You've changed his thought process.
Yeah, it's not me being ignorant. It's just that I find it really, really hard to do.
Making a difference. Well, hopefully, we'll see you soon. And anything you're doing, just stick it on the wall. And if
will do,
we can help you,
darling.
You take care. Stay safe. That's the fantastic Hayley Rhea Christian, and I could talk to her for hours. Absolutely fantastic performer. If you get a chance to go and see one of the shows, I would say just go and see it because it's great. It's not. I'm a big Motown fan and a big soul fan. I love a diva. But where Hayley excels is she gives it a little twist. She puts her own little spin on it. And it's always funny to watch what are called tribute acts because we forget that they are actually paying tribute to that performer. And she does it so well. Just really, really, really well. She alluded to the fact that sometimes life can be tough and it can get difficult. And then what do you do? If you're a performer, you've been on stage in front of hundreds of people, can you really, have time when you feel sad or when things get too much for you? Well, yes, you can. People bandy the word depression around all the time. It's too much, right? There's sadness. That's a symptom, but that's not depression. Low energy, feeling worthless, having trouble sleeping, or even having trouble thinking. These are all signs that things may well be getting out of hand and you may be finding them difficult. There's always things that you can do, and which is why I always ask my guests for their top tips for well-being. And I think Hayley's suggestion is brilliant. Marry a Royal Marine or have a go-to person who can help you out. But different people have different ways of coping. Ignacio said that stubbornness can help you through tough times. Crystal, I thought was really, really good. Talk and be there for people, for other people. And one of the things that people like Haley do is they bring love and joy to others. But in doing that, they make themselves feel good. But then it's afterwards, what is going to make you feel good? What is going to help you if you're having a tough time? Jonathan Prince, another St. Kitts boy. It must be something about that whole island that makes people very philosophical. He says you can't change people. You can only change how you let them affect you. And that's difficult if you'll come off a stage and you're thinking, well, how am I going to get through this bit where I've got a meet and greet? Well, you put on a mask. And every day when you walk out your front door, we're all putting on a mask. We're all pretending. We're all acting. Ninia says sometimes when you're down, you just got to accept that. And Kev Precious tied in with that. Watch your triggers. We all know what triggers us. If you do find that you're struggling or you're having a tough time, it's not going to be the end of the world. Most people experience feelings of stress, anxiety, low moods during difficult times. You're meant to. You're meant to feel down. You're meant to feel up. You're meant to feel worried. These are all emotions. But when they get out of hand, what do? The tips: being aware of your feelings, creating a support network, find a way to help others. Lots of different things you can do. For me, I've never had any problems with depression or anxiety yet. But I don't know what the future's going to store for me. I always try to reframe any unhelpful thoughts. I try and stay in the present, try and get a good night's sleep. But really, for me, it's removing negative, toxic people from your life. You know, it's really hard for people to dump friends, but just do it. Don't procrastinate. Do it. If people are just emotional vampires sucking your energy, ta-da, wave them goodbye. I want you to know, though, that if you do have proper problems, Time to Change, I always recommend, and mind.org. There's always help out there if you need it. If you or someone you know is struggling, just reach out. Just say, look, what can I do to be part of your solution? What can I do that's going to help you to get through this? Pop up as you can. Join our little community here. We are always pleased when people join in. I let him have the last word, but I've got to let him have the next last word because he's just a legend. He's not an inspiration. He's a legend. Hope you work with that, Steve. Steve Troop, you need security when you go to Clacton, Haley. Steve Troop is offering to do your security. But you see, even in the midst of adversity, Steve will pop up with a positive message and with, he offers hope. The man offers hope. He's very good like that. So every day on the men's radio station and also on women's radio station, why have you got to have a men's radio station and a women's radio station? Because we just do. Get over it. Find someone else to complain about. Every day on the show, we are on the station. There's different shows. Some are practitioners, some are clinicians. If you just want to escape, I'm gonna turn into one of the people I hate now. If you want to escape and you need a good way of spending some time on your own, hey, try a good book like the book I just brought out. My book. Me and Darren wrote a book, and it's brilliant. So go and get it now before we become the new Harry Potter, because we've sold 4 copies this week. Oh yeah, them's the statistics that you want to work with. Do keep coming along every week, please. You're always very, very welcome. I'll always try and get guests from the world of entertainment that are interesting, and who aren't just trying to plug a book like I just did or anything like that. They're actually about stuff. Go and check out the Lost Boys on social media. They do a lot of fantastic music. They're all about empowerment. I think they're great, but what do I know? If you are having trouble, just remember you are not on your own. Here at Men's Radio Station and Women's Radio Station, there's a big family and you're part of it. Thank you so much for coming along tonight. We'll speak to you next week.
Well, that's the end of another great show. What a brilliant guest that was. I could have spoken to them for hours. Don't forget to check out all the other brilliant shows on the mensradiostation.com website, as well as womensradiostation.com as well. Do subscribe to all of our media outlets, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all those things, but tell your friends. Big thank you to Lost Boys UK, who have provided this fantastic music for the show. Check out my website, happytohelpyou.com. We'll be back next week. Really do take care of yourself, and remember, you're not on your own. You're part of the mensradiostation.com family. Take care. Good night.